All right, Caleb, we're going to look at Tennessee's next opponent, which is the University of Kentucky. I'm curious.
It's an obscure program. Tennessee doesn't play them a lot.
Yeah. I mean, do they play basketball? Do they have horse racing? I don't know. So let me ask you this, Caleb. The matchup against Kentucky, before we dive into the X's and O's of it and what it means, the fact that Kentucky's 2-0, where does this rank in your mind in terms of greatest rivalries of all sports?
Oh, I can't put it that high. It's a one-sided rivalry. I mean, let's be honest. Tennessee-Kentucky rivalry in basketball is just the reverse of the Tennessee-Kentucky rivalry in football. Now, Tennessee has gotten...
Wait, from Tennessee's perspective, is it... I think it's very analogous to the Alabama rivalry in football.
Yes, for Tennessee fans. They hate Kentucky the way they hate Alabama. Kentucky doesn't care that much about Tennessee in basketball. They hate them in football.
Okay, that's probably true. But in football, I would say I've talked to a lot of Alabama fans that have told me over the years that they indeed do hate the University of Tennessee, actually more than Auburn.
Well, Tennessee-Alabama is a legit like two-sided rivalry in football. But Tennessee-Kentucky in basketball, I guarantee you talk to Kentucky, they traditionally would circle UNC or Duke on their schedule before they circle Tennessee.
No, I wouldn't argue with that at all. It is time for 4 downs, and we get to that now. Coop, what should we do? What down do we have coming up?
Coop here. First down.
All right. First down is this. Let's look back at the game over the weekend. Felix Okpara, your thoughts?
Felix Okpara and the way he played?
Yes.
I thought Felix Okpara played very well over the weekend. And it, turned up the athleticism like we talked about, use it to their advantage against UCLA when they weren't winning that well in the post. So with that in mind, I thought that was, I thought he performed admirably, even though he only had 4 points, he had 7 rebounds and a block. So I got to give him credit for that.
Yes, that led us to Wofford just shot the ball well from 3 going back to the weekend, but that wasn't the case against UCLA. Did you think that Tennessee was able to play a little bit better perimeter defense? Your thoughts?
Yes. I thought they turned up the athleticism and played just better perimeter defense. And we're going to get to their athleticism in a little while because we didn't see that coming. But yeah, they clearly just were conserving energy when they played Wofford.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How concerning is it that Tennessee was swept by Kentucky in their regular season?
And this is where we get to, would you have rather played Kentucky or Illinois? Because Tennessee beat Illinois and they lost twice to Kentucky. And I know Dave's head is going to explode, but I believe in the law of averages. And I think that it's just unlikely for Kentucky to beat Tennessee 3 times in the same season just because they shot red hot and Tennessee had an awful shooting performance, which would have to happen.
I'm totally with you. If Caleb beats my ass 2 times, okay, I'm not going to want to go back and fight Caleb. I'm just telling you. I mean, that's common sense.
Well, that's where we're opposite, though. See, I don't think Tennessee should be concerned about Kentucky.
See, that's the thing that's weird. If Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson fought 3 times, who would win? I mean, I like Tennessee. I still think they're the better team after losing 2 in a row. But don't start with that. It's hard to beat a team 3 times or 2 times or whatever the case may be. If you beat somebody's ass, you feel pretty good about beating their ass again.
Yes, but Vegas has Tennessee favored for a reason in this game.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying that Tennessee's not the better team, but just don't bring up that narrative. Is that fair?
Okay, fair enough. But can I bring up why Kentucky swept them?
Not you. I mean, like, rhetorically.
Well, I guess where I'm getting at
media members too.
Where I'm getting at is the reason Kentucky swept Tennessee, to be fair, is because there was a giant shooting disparity where they just happened to shoot red hot both times and Tennessee happened to shoot poorly. I don't see that. It seems very unlikely that would happen 3 times in the same season. I guess that's where I'm getting at, is that it seems very hard for Tennessee to shoot, for that shooting disparity from 3 to happen 3 times in the regular season. And that's why I think it's I think it's a better matchup for Tennessee than they think. Even though they did beat Illinois earlier in the year at Illinois off the last second shot, I wouldn't write off the fact that Kentucky actually is a better matchup for them this time around.
Okay, before we get to second down, Adam says Tennessee has played Kentucky 3 times in a season under Barnes. Neither team has won all 3 games.
Yeah,
Again,
that is true.
That's one of those stats that I think is silly. Again, I mean, if you beat my ass 2 times, I'm not going to want to come back. I mean, I'm not saying that it's, stark true and doctrine. I'm just saying that it's a weird argument for me to make.
I mean, okay, it's not like, here's the way I look at it.
You want to make the argument, don't you?
Well, okay, here's where I'm making the argument. Technically, you're right. Because here's the thing. If I flip a coin 50 times and it lands on heads all 50 times.
It's not even that. It's if the coin beats my arse.
No, but it's like, if I flip the coin 50 times and it lands on heads 50 times, that doesn't mean that there's a greater than 50% chance it's going to land on tails the next time.
Absolutely.
It's
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there is but the law of averages has to play out like at some point in an overall scenario, and I'm like,
it doesn't. Okay,
it does.
No, it doesn't. You're the person, and I love you. You're at the roulette wheel, and you see 7 straight blacks, and you say this has to be red. No, it doesn't. It's still the same odds as the last one.
Hey, maybe this is why my gambling sucks.
I mean, I walk up to the roulette table. I bet every time I walk in a casino, $100 on 8 for Troy Aikman. And that's it. Because the roulette table is a great way to lose some money.
Well,
Mays here. Second down.
Second down is this, Caleb. Do you want to throw us into second down? Kentucky's defensive versatility is good.
Yes, and this is where we go from like coin flips to actual X's and O's of the game. And this is where it's more like
good.
Well, this is where it's more like football, because it's funny you brought up Troy Aikman. I mean, no one ever says the law of averages in football, because football, there's no law of averages. It's just one team's better than the other 90% of the time when they play. And yeah. So in this one, I would say that Kentucky's defensive versatility, I thought before Saturday would be a concern for Tennessee. But Mick Cronin also has defensive versatility. He runs that matchup zone to give Tennessee trouble, and it didn't affect Tennessee at all. They adjusted to it well. Kentucky is going to have Tennessee with Kentucky, though. This is what Mark Pope does. He adjusts his defense on the fly, switches things up, and he does run a lot of matchup zones. So can Tennessee, without a true big that scores, particularly with Igor Milicic Jr., even still not playing great, didn't do it last weekend. Can they break that? Can they break through that? His teams, Kentucky adjusts very well on ball screen defense. They don't really switch. They're kind of like Tennessee in that regard. Funny enough, they just adjust well. And they run a variety of ball screen defenses, and they will switch to zone just at the worst time when you're not preparing for it. And this is what got Tennessee both times during the season. This is the biggest concern for Tennessee. Mark Pope does have great defensive versatility, and he can throw it at you when you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, well said. What down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
All right, third down brought to you in part by Quality Tire Pros, serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive, brakes, alignments, oil changes, and more. It's right down below, qualitytirepros.com, qualitytirepros.com. All right, Caleb, what is third down, sir?
Third down. Does the history of this series work against Tennessee? We know historically
I don't believe this at all. I'll just go ahead and tell you. I'm just going to go. I don't believe in it goes back to what we said earlier, right? If you beat my butt 2 straight times, there's a reason in heavyweight boxing, which Kentucky did. They beat Tennessee 2 straight times. In heavyweight boxing, you don't do a third. Why? Because you've proven your point. In this case, you have to do a third, but I don't think the history, whether it's Kentucky, is incredible, and they are. Their heritage, their history is impressive. It is. Just don't think this plays in it, do you?
I think it does. And I'll just tell you some stories. Like, let's talk about it. You don't think, for instance, the Florida series in football plays into when Tennessee and Florida play, where it gets into the players' heads that Florida just has this dominance over Tennessee?
Okay, I'm glad you went there. I'll go short term, yes. I think you can get in somebody's head. I don't think that Joe B. Hall winning a game in the 1970s, I don't think that crosses Rick Barnes's mind at all this week.
I don't think it does with Barnes, but I do think it does with the players. And so I think it could
Do
creep into
you?
the
See, I think it's
Yeah.
even less with the players.
Maybe you're right, but I think it creeps into the players' heads because the talk on campus is there, like, oh, it's Kentucky. We know this with Kentucky and Tennessee in football.
Okay.
How many times, Dave, has
I totally love you. And I think you're 100% right 5 years ago. Nobody's going to class anymore. You do know that, right?
Okay, so you're saying the campus culture is not infecting
No,
the players because they're not around the campus.
It's the same. You're as insulated as you and me. I mean, you and me, we don't have to really talk to anybody if we don't want to. We talk to sources to provide our listeners better info, but we really don't have to associate with anyone. I don't think that most players associate with anyone other than the coaches and the players.
You don't think you don't think they get connected to the radio shows,
No.
the call-ins, the
No.
podcast, or the blogs, or the
No.
online talk? You don't think any of that affects them at all? You don't think they read any of it?
I think
in this era of social media?
Okay, no. I think they listen to what they like, because you have to remember every one of these college football athletes were once prospects, and I think they realized they could control the narrative with their own social media. So I think they're ignorant, but I don't think they care. Does that make sense? I don't think they know what you, me, and a mainstream media are saying about them. I think they just know what people are saying about them in social media.
Okay, but the campus culture and communities infect social media, and they are on social media. And Elon's Twitter likes to generate fights. So I mean, let's be honest, those kids are seeing some stuff. And you're saying it's not infecting.
Well, that's true. And what did No Bueno have to say here? Let me pull that up. You can
Nico
read that
has you blocked.
He does. He does. So I guess he is listening. Good point.
All SEC
Wait,
Center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Okay, I'm all over the place. What down are we on, Caleb?
It is fourth down.
Center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
Thank you, Coop. We appreciate that. All right, fourth down. Is this an opportunity for the Vols to get revenge? Golly, man. If
Dave doesn't believe in that.
This doesn't matter. I'm Dave. This is not a factor at all.
That's what I sound like. If it had been Auburn or Florida or basically any other school, I'd say heck no. But the fact that it's Kentucky and it's basketball and these kids care and they know that that's a blue blood program and they're not. Yeah, I think it is. If you'd picked any other program, I mean, UConn could have beat Tennessee 38 times last year, and I wouldn't go with you. But it's Kentucky.
Yeah, and the fact that Kentucky swept them in the regular season when they know they're the better team. This is a chance to go to the Elite Eight. And it's not just to go to the Elite Eight, Dave. It's a chance to get 30 wins for only the third time in school history.
I know, man. I don't want to do this whole emotional thing about the university.
Sounds like you do.
I do. I mean, it's Kentucky, for the love of God.
Look, I think that, I think I'll say it this way. I think Tennessee wanted to play Kentucky to get to the Elite Eight. I think they wanted to play Kentucky.
When the draw came out?
No, I mean watching the games yesterday, Illinois, Kentucky, I think they rooted for Kentucky, even though Illinois may be an easier out. I think they rooted for Kentucky. I think they wanted to get Kentucky. It kind of reminds me of, we talk about the 80s NBA all the time. I watched a thing with the Pistons one year when the Pistons beat your Celtics to finally go to the finals, Dave.
Shut up.
I think was it Isaiah Thomas or one of them was like, they said, oh, we were rooting for the Celtics in the series before. We wanted to we didn't want to go to the finals. We wanted to beat Boston. They were like, we wanted Boston specifically. And
I was so happy with Caleb and what he's done at this point. And a brand new week. It's kind of cloudy, and he was giving me sunshine, love on my day here. But man, he just messed all that up.